It's time to wake up San Gabriel Valley with CCN Sunrise.
Hi, welcome back to the second half hour of CCN Sunrise. Glad you're with us. Coming up, Lee Cuellar with the CCN Sunrise Your Home segment.
And Chef Mikey will be making frittatas and mimosas for Mother's Day breakfast. I'm looking forward to that.
So am I.
Yes.
But first, Mary, it's time for the Morning Buzz.
Well.
And joining us is blogger and host of The Dark Side with Kira Davis.
On FTRradio.com. Yes,
Okay.
That's right. Thank you.
Kira Davis, welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Good morning.
So let's jump right in.
Yeah.
In Garland, Texas, there was a Draw Mohammed contest that drew a couple of jihadis who intended to shoot up the place but were killed. My question here is, when you target a particular group, as Pamela Geller did, isn't that bigotry?
No, and I'll be honest with you, at first, when all this was happening, I thought, well, it's a little distasteful. I wouldn't do it myself, but I get the point she was making. The longer this goes on and the more I hear her talk, the point of the whole event was everyone should have the ability and the right to express their opinions about anything in this country without being killed. And so what ended up happening...
We accept that, though. I mean, most Americans know that, but here,
it doesn't
Pamela...
incite anger, and it is kind of interesting. Why would we kind of...
Well, Pamela has these events often, and she seems to target Muslims.
Yes.
So doesn't that
That's what she does. Well, Pamela...
So doesn't that mean she's a bigot?
No, Pamela's group is an anti-Sharia law group, and she is really heavily involved in women's rights across the world. And so she goes to these countries where she sees women living under Sharia law and sees the oppression there. So her point is...
like it's actually putting women in danger, it's putting individuals in danger when these things are taking place.
I think that's a strange way to put it, because we're talking about Pamela and we're talking about people drawing cartoons, and we're not talking at all about terrorists who kill people drawing cartoons.
When you know that you're going to incite anger,
right.
You know that it's provocative, it's deliberately provocative. So then maybe the question is, does free speech have limits?
No. How can you put limits on free speech? I mean, nice speech and kind speech doesn't need to be protected. The very essence of free speech actually is offensive speech. Because if we were just talking about protecting nice speech and speech that makes people feel good and doesn't offend people, well, you don't need anything like that written into the Constitution.
So you don't
offensive speech is the essence of free speech.
Well, now we have people talk about hate speech now. And should you be allowed to engage in speech that, I think you've answered this, that is deliberately provocative, but is hateful?
Well, I guess we all have the right, but is it smart to do? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense to put people in danger.
Well, and here's the interesting thing. If you actually go and you look at the cartoons that were drawn in that contest, which I don't think a lot of people have done, and I hadn't done until yesterday, preparing for this segment, it's shocking how actually non-offensive they are. They're really free speech cartoons. They're not about Muhammad. They're really about the ability of artists to express themselves however they want without being murdered for it.